Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. I was halfway through a glass of overpriced Pinot when I heard my father's voice rise over the white noise of clinking cutlery and forced laughter. It's a miracle she's here at all, he said, lifting his glass toward me like I was some zoo animal on display. Maya always said she'd never settle. Too ambitious, I told her. No man wants to marry a boardroom. Scattered chuckles followed. My sister let out this fake high-pitched laugh she saves for Dad's worst moments. My mom smiled without looking up from her shrimp cocktail. I didn't move. You don't give him the satisfaction. That's how you survive him. Stillness. We were at my younger brother's retirement banquet. He'd been a cop, a captain actually, retiring early at 44 with a full pension and a shiny plaque. The event was hosted at a private golf resort in Scottsdale. All white tablecloths, soft jazz, and people I didn't know pretending they knew me. My name card just said Maya. No +1. My father, Judge Harold Stanton, retired but still as self-important as ever, was stationed near the open bar, holding court like it was his own damn coronation. The man could charm anyone except his own children. She's got brains, I'll give her that, he continued. But she weaponizes it. Men don't want to compete at home. I didn't look at him, just swirled the wine and focused on breathing. In, out. That's all. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. Then, this rumble. Faint at first, too mechanical to be thunder, too low to be a lawnmower. The jazz stopped mid-sax. People near the windows started murmuring. Is that? Someone asked. It got louder. Too loud. Everyone drifted to the massive floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the green. I stood up and followed, more curious than anything. That's when I saw it. A Gulfstream G650 was taxiing onto the private strip behind the resort, wheels gliding over the grass like it owned the place. It shouldn't have been there. Not at that hour, not unannounced. Guests pressed against the glass, whispering. Some pulled out phones. My sister's hand shot up to record before I even saw the plane stop. The engines whined down. Silence. Then a voice crackled over a loudspeaker, clear and calm. Maya, marry me. Dead still. No reaction at first. Just confusion. Then heads turned. My dad's smirk dropped off his face like a mask ripped clean. My mom looked like she'd swallowed an ice cube. Someone gasped behind me. My sister zoomed in with her phone, whispering, "Oh my God, is this real?" I set my glass down. Slowly. No shaking. No rush. And then I walked straight to the balcony door and opened it. I stepped onto the balcony and the air hit different. Cooler, sharper. It smelled like jet fuel and dry fall grass. That mix you only notice near a runway. Below, two crew members in neon vests stood at the bottom of the stairs, waving me forward like I was some kind of VIP. The stairs were already lowered, and at the top of them, there he was. David, pilot's uniform, captain's stripes, standing tall and still in the doorway of that jet, like he'd just landed from another world. His face didn't say surprise or romance. It just said, "I'm here. Your move." The crowd behind me buzzed, then went silent again. No one knew what to say. Some phones were up, filming like crazy. Others were frozen. I heard whispers. Wait, is that Captain Stokes? From National Aero? Oh my God, that's really him. He didn't say anything else. He didn't need to. His eyes were locked on mine like we were the only two people left standing in the aftermath of a hurricane. Then I heard the sliding door behind me creak open. Footsteps. Fast ones. Maya, my father snapped just under his breath. What the hell do you think you're doing? I kept walking. He caught up. You're humiliating this family in front of everyone. You think this is brave? This is a goddamn circus. I didn't look at him. I didn't stop. Another voice rang out. One of the event staff, breathless and panicked. Ma'am, that aircraft doesn't have clearance for this strip. Ma'am, please. Nobody listened. Nobody cared. All I could hear was the wind and the soft hum of the jet's cooling engines. My heels clicked across the brick terrace, then onto the tarmac, one steady step after another. I could feel eyes boring into my back. Guests, family, staff, the whole damn crowd, but not one of them mattered right then. He was still waiting. Still calm. Still David. At the bottom of the stairs, I paused, not from doubt, just to feel it. The moment. My hand tightened around the railing. The steps were narrow, metal with the faint vibration of engines still running. I climbed. At the top, David didn't say anything. He didn't need to. He held out his hand, and I took it. The door didn't close right away. For a second, the world was still open behind us. Wind, whispers, judgment. But I turned back just once. My father stood dead center in the crowd, red-faced, jaw locked. "Shut the damn door!" he shouted at no one in particular. "Shut it!" No one moved. The stairs retracted with a slow, mechanical groan, and I felt the slight shift as the plane prepped to move. David stepped aside so I could pass into the cabin. I heard people outside yelling, maybe at the crew, maybe just in disbelief. But inside the jet, it was quiet. Cold leather, warm lights, and a faint scent of eucalyptus from the cabin sprayers. I sat. David stepped into the cockpit without a word. The door clicked shut behind him. Then we moved. It wasn't fast. It wasn't some movie-style takeoff with dramatic music and shaky camera angles. It was smooth, controlled. The plane rolled forward like it had all the time in the world. I felt the moment in my chest. This wasn't escape. It wasn't drama. It was choice. We lifted, slowly, cleanly, leaving behind the banquet, the speeches, the judgment, the white tablecloths, the people who always expected me to fold. As the ground dropped away, my phone buzzed with messages I didn't read. I just leaned back and let the silence settle in. He didn't shout. He didn't beg. He didn't need to prove anything. He just showed up. 2 years earlier, I was sweating through a blazer inside a tin can trailer that passed for an office in Southeast Asia. We were midway through an airport expansion project. New tower, longer runways, upgraded lighting, and everything was falling behind schedule. My desk was covered in shipping manifests, bad coffee, and an open laptop flashing red alerts. A critical shipment of high-intensity LED runway lights, the kind required for night ops and final certification testing, was stuck in customs. No movement for 3 days. We couldn't test, which meant we couldn't certify, which meant I had the ministry breathing down my neck. Then he walked in. Pilot uniform, flight boots, Ray-Bans tucked into his collar. He filled the doorframe like he belonged to another department, the one that always got what it wanted. "You the one stalling my certification run?" he asked, calm but tight. I didn't even look up from my screen. "I'm the one keeping planes from slamming into each other in the dark." He stepped fully inside, let the door clang shut behind him. "The shipment's grounded. We're 3 days off schedule." "No kidding," I muttered. "You want to yell? Get in line." He didn't yell. He sat down, right across from me, pulled the laptop toward him without asking. "Show me the bill of lading," he said. I blinked. "Excuse me? You heard me? You got a stuck shipment?" Let's find it. I should have told him to back off. But I didn't. I was too tired and too curious. We tracked it together, line by line, port by port, until we found the problem. A customs hold at a bonded storage hub flagged for random review, except there was nothing random about it. Someone was waiting for a payout to move it forward. He got on the phone, called in a favor from a regional liaison, and within the hour the shipment was cleared. No swagger, no credit taking. He just stood up and said, "You're good to go." They'll deliver by 5, then he left. After that, we kept running into each other. Stakeholder meetings, site walks, coffee lines. He always had a fresh cup, always seemed like he knew where he was going. One morning, I was reviewing taxiway specs on my tablet when I felt a cup of black coffee slide into view. "Thought you could use this," he said. I didn't even flinch. "Bribing planners now?" He grinned. "Only the competent ones." It wasn't flirtation, not at first. Just this steady, quiet recognition, like two people in the same mess, moving the same direction. Then came late nights reviewing windshear data, shared car rides to vendor sites, post-meeting drinks where work talk drifted into stories. One night, we were the last ones at a rooftop bar near the job site. I was nursing a cheap cocktail and complaining about faulty excavation reports. He listened, then asked if I always tried to fix everything myself. "Someone has to," I said. He nodded like he understood that too well. That's when he said it, out of nowhere. "If I ever ask you to marry me, it won't be with a ring at a dinner table." I snorted. "Okay, Maverick." He just shrugged. Too predictable. I didn't believe him. I thought it was a joke, just bar talk. But I remembered it, every word. After I rotated back to the States, I figured things with David would fade out. Overseas sparks never make it past baggage claim. But he kept showing up, Not in big ways, just consistent ones. He'd send links to airspace regulation updates or funny airport signage. I'd reply with reports on delayed contracts or pictures of terrible airport food. We started trading questions. How do you even measure runway friction? Do you always carry your own headset? Nothing serious. Just noise we both wanted to hear. When he flew in for quarterly audits, he'd let me know. Never pushy, just landing at Sky Harbor Tuesday. You around? The second time he came through, we grabbed dinner. The third time, he stayed through the weekend. And after that, we stopped pretending it was casual. He never once asked to meet my family. I never offered. Not because I was ashamed, but because I knew exactly how it would go. Polished handshakes, thin smiles. My dad testing him with layered compliments. My mom asking if his benefits were private or public sector. My sister giving him the once-over and deciding how much influence he held. I told him everything. They operate like a business, I said one night after we got back from a jazz bar. Old money, old rules. Every move has ROI, he didn't flinch. So what do they think of your career? They don't think about it at all unless they can name drop it at brunch. He just nodded. No speech. No rescue fantasy. That was the difference. He wasn't trying to fix it, just trying to understand it. A few months later, his company offered him a jump. Executive VP, grounded role, big office, more power, less flying. He turned it down. Why? I asked. It's not what I'm built for. I like the flight line. It keeps me honest. That stuck with me, especially coming from a man who had every reason to chase titles. The job didn't define him. The work did. We weren't flashy. No Instagram reels, no his and hers matching luggage. We were leftovers eaten on the couch and drives to nowhere just to sit still for a while. We were the small stuff, the real stuff. One Sunday afternoon, we were both half asleep on my balcony. Planes passed overhead every 10 minutes. I was flipping through a maintenance compliance report on my tablet when he said it. I want to be someone who backs you, not manages you. I looked at him. Not romantic, not dramatic. Just clear. That was his version of a proposal. No bended knee, no script. I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no. By the time I pulled into my parents' driveway, the sun was gone and the windows were glowing like they were expecting a guest of honor. I walked in through the side door. No one said a word at first, just the click of my heels on tile and the soft tick of that antique wall clock my mom polishes every Sunday. They were waiting in the kitchen. My father stood by the island, arms crossed, jaw tight. My mother sat stiffly at the breakfast nook, her hands folded like she was about to start prayer. He was the first to speak. You humiliated us in front of everyone. His voice wasn't loud. It was clipped, sharp, like a courtroom warning. I didn't flinch. You hijacked your brother's retirement celebration to stage some ridiculous stunt, he continued. My mother didn't look up. She just said, you don't even understand what you're tying yourself to? I set my keys down. No, I said, you don't understand. You're afraid of what you can't influence. The room went dead quiet. Not a breath, not a cough, just stillness. My mom blinked slowly. My dad's mouth tightened into a flat line. I've spent my entire life jumping through your invisible hoops, I said, picking careers that look good on paper, saying yes to things I didn't want because it made you look connected. I've had enough. My father straightened, that judge posture snapping into place. You want to throw your life away on some flyboy who pulled a stunt for TikTok? He didn't record a damn thing, I snapped. You raised me to believe my ambition was a liability. You mocked it, controlled it, tried to shrink it every time it didn't serve you. My mother stood up. You're being emotional. I laughed. No, I'm being honest. There's a difference. My father's voice dropped. Cold, final. If you walk away now, don't come back asking for help. Not for money, not for favors. You're on your own. I nodded. Good. Then I turned and walked upstairs. I didn't slam the door. I didn't need to. That night, the video hit social media. Not just phones at the resort. The flight crew had clipped the audio. My name was trending before midnight. The jet, the loudspeaker, the walkout, no spin, no scandal, no whispers about disgrace, just awe. I'd done something no one in my family ever dared. I didn't defend it. I didn't explain it. I just let the silence stretch and watched who showed up to fill it. 2 days after the video went viral, my phone rang from a blocked number. I was at home, pacing the hallway between my kitchen and the back door, still in gym clothes, hair wet. The voice on the line was low and steady. This is off record, he said. But I thought you'd want to know. Your father's firm has been under internal review. Federal Aviation Trade Commission. We're looking at influence on FAA contract steering. I didn't say anything. I just sat down. He continued, Your engagement didn't trigger it. But it sped things up. That part didn't surprise me. David's name came with weight. Decades in the cockpit, known for refusing shortcuts, clean audits every time. A man like that doesn't make waves unless someone's trying to cover one. The investigator gave me a contact to send over any relevant information. Even old scraps. Anything helps, I didn't rush. I knew exactly what I had. Buried in old laptop folders, backlogged emails, notepads with scribbled call times, and phrases like, run it through, Stanton, or he'll get it done, quietly. I pulled it together over the next day, not polished, not redacted. Just raw PDFs, forwarded threads, call logs from years ago. No commentary, no story attached. Just one line in the email. Happy to clarify anything. I hit send and closed the laptop. I didn't feel anything right away. No adrenaline, no fire. Just this low, steady current in my chest. Clear. By Friday, word broke in the industry press. Stanton Strategies had been pulled from the finalist list on a key FAA logistics contract, one they'd been circling for months. No details. Just a note about compliance irregularities. I didn't call anyone, didn't post, didn't even text David. But the silence came fast. First, my mom stopped with the passive-aggressive forwarded articles. Then my dad's number stopped showing up in missed calls. Even my sister, who never missed a chance to play both sides, went dark. It wasn't grief, it was vacuum. Like a switch flipped, and they erased me to stop the bleeding. That was fine. I made dinner alone that night. Just grilled chicken and sweet potatoes, something simple, and turned on air traffic radio in the background like white noise. Planes reporting altitude, crosswinds, clearance. I listened the way some people listen to the ocean. It made sense. It didn't lie. It didn't shift depending on who was watching. No messages came through. And I didn't need any. The shift at work started subtle. People who used to look through me started making eye contact. Junior analysts lingered by my desk with fake questions just to say hi. One intern brought me coffee and mumbled, You're, the woman with the jet, right? I didn't answer. Just sipped the coffee and got back to my report. By Thursday, it wasn't subtle anymore. I walked into a pre-bid briefing, and 3 engineers I'd never spoken to nodded like I'd coached their high school softball team. The project manager handed me the latest specs and said, Glad you're still in the room. I hadn't known that was in question. One afternoon, I was reviewing terminal routing diagrams when my assistant buzzed me. A Mark Healy is here to see you. No appointment. I looked up. Healy from Northeast Aero? Yeah. He says it's not business. Just 5 minutes. I stood. Send him in. He walked in wearing a polo with his company logo and a tired smile. I'd never met him in person, but I knew his name. CEO of the firm that landed the FAA contract after my father's firm got dropped. He offered his hand. You cut through the crap, he said. No back channels, no favors, just truth. I took his hand but didn't say anything. He paused, looked around the room like he was trying to decide if he should keep going. Then he did. People don't speak up in this field. Not when it's family, not when there's money involved. You gave people a reason to do the right thing. That landed harder than I expected. Not because I wanted praise, but because he was right. It wasn't about some jet on a golf course or a viral video. It wasn't even about David. It was about pulling the curtain back just long enough for someone to act. He left after 4 minutes. Didn't ask for anything, just wanted to say it in person. After he was gone, I sat at my desk and stared at the HVAC vent above the door. Cold air blew straight across the ceiling tiles like it always had, but it felt different now. For the first time in my career, I wasn't walking a line between approval and silence. I was standing on my own floor. The envelope was plain, no return address, no handwriting, just my name printed in stiff block letters. I almost tossed it with the junk mail. Inside was a single page, typed, no greeting. No dear Maya, no love dad, just this. Actions carry consequences. You've made your choice. I hope it serves you well. Harold Stanton, not dad, not even father, just Harold, like we were 2 men closing a business deal gone bad. I read it once. No emotion, no real surprise. I folded it in half and walked to the hallway closet where we keep useless things. Old charger cables, warranty slips, expired AOE cards. The letter went into the drawer with the bank forms and backup checks we hadn't touched in years. It didn't hurt, it didn't sting or settle into my chest like regret. It just landed like a door finally shutting all the way. That night, David and I were eating takeout in bed. Ty, 2 spice levels apart, and I handed him the fortune from my cookie without reading it. He looked at it, raised an eyebrow. It says, "You already know the answer." I laughed. I always get the lazy ones. He leaned back on his elbow and looked at me like he was lining something up in his head. Then I said it. "I think I'm ready for whatever comes next." I didn't mean marriage, or a timeline, or some big shift. I meant the weight was gone. The weight of asking myself who I had to please next, who I had to appease just to keep my spot at a table I never chose. David didn't say anything right away. He just reached across and took my hand. That was enough. No ceremony. No grand conclusion. Just a clean edge to a chapter that didn't belong to me in the first place. The hanger smelled like oil, rubber, and jet fuel. Honest smells. Real ones. No candles, no floral centerpieces. Just folding chairs set in crooked rows and the low hum of ground crews still doing their jobs 50 yards away. There was no aisle, just space between the chairs, and a stretch of concrete runway behind us that went on forever. David stood waiting near the makeshift arch someone had welded from scrap aluminum and stripped wiring. The officiant was a woman we'd both worked with during a runway rehab project in Seattle. She wore work boots and didn't bring a clipboard. My parents came. Third row, not front, not flanked by cousins or friends. Just there, like spectators. No speeches, no greetings, no second chances. My sister sat beside them, phone face down in her lap, sunglasses on even though it wasn't bright. When it was time to walk, I didn't take anyone's arm, but a man did step forward. Walt, a mechanic I'd worked with overseas, the one who taught me how to spot counterfeit bolts in vendor shipments. He didn't say anything, just offered his elbow, grease still under his fingernails. I took it. As we walked, I felt every pair of eyes on us. Not heavy, not judging, just watching. Not one of them tried to make it about anything but what it was. David smiled the same way he had on the tarmac that day, like nothing else needed to happen but this. We stood under that half-bent arch while the wind messed with my hair and some bird somewhere refused to shut up. The vows weren't long. Mine started with, "I promise to tell the truth even when it won't make me popular." A few people laughed. Not mockingly, just like they knew. David's voice was calm, grounded, same tone he used before takeoff checks. "I promise to land when I say I will," he said, "and to never make your strength a threat." It wasn't poetry. It was better than that. Then, just as the officiant told us we could kiss, a Cessna buzzed overhead on final approach, not part of the plan. But perfect timing. The noise covered our laughter as we kissed. No rice, no fanfare. Just a burst of wind from the spinning prop and the smell of jet exhaust rolling in behind it. As we walked back between the chairs, I saw my dad shift in his seat. My mom blinked fast like she might say something, but didn't. No one stood, no one clapped, and no one tried to stop me. The pallet stage rocked a little under my boots as I stepped up. Someone had stacked 2 crates and strapped a mic stand to a folding chair. The speakers were borrowed from a local band, and the sound crackled if you talked too loud. Didn't matter. I looked out at the rows of folding chairs, half full now with people eating from paper plates, laughing, drinking from red Solo cups. The air smelled like brisket and jet fuel. The sunset behind the hangar cut everything in gold. I cleared my throat and held the mic with both hands. No cards, no notes. "Thank you for showing up," I said. "For real. It means more than you probably know." A few heads turned from conversations. David stood just off stage, one hand in his pocket, watching. This isn't a perfect venue. There's no chandelier, no wine pairing, no 5-tier cake. What we do have is space. Space to be ourselves, without legacy or title or agenda. Someone let out a quiet in the back. I kept going. I especially want to thank the people who know what it means to stand up to old systems. To say, "This isn't mine and I don't have to carry it." I paused, looked right at the third row. My parents sat still, not proud, not angry, just there. Present but not participating. I nodded once and said, "You are allowed to build the life that fits the shape of your courage." Then I stepped back and handed the mic off. No applause, just a few clinks of forks, someone blowing their nose, and then music. The kind that fills empty corners and makes people move without meaning to. David found me near the drink table and pulled me out to the middle of the floor, We danced badly, offbeat, laughing, arms everywhere. At one point, I accidentally stepped on his foot, and he spun me anyway like it was part of the plan. Someone yelled, "To the lady with the jet!" That got a full round of laughter, and one champagne bottle popped too early. I didn't feel like I'd escaped anything. I felt like I'd finally built something that could hold. As the sun dropped below the edge of the hangar, David squeezed my hand and leaned in. "You set the table," he said. "Now let's eat."